Hey everyone, Martin here. Just sitting here on a Monday morning with you and my dog, who is currently falling asleep in my lap. So if I look down at my crotch from time to time, I'm not admiring myself, I'm admiring my little dog. Tilly, for those of you who don't know, we adopted her about just around Christmas time, and she's acclimating to our apartment very well. She's taking good care of herself and trying to play with the cats as much as she can, and they don't want any of it, as you can imagine. But they're getting along okay. And I just wanted to talk to you guys about my experience on vacation, because I know I'd been hyping that up, so to speak, in the We're Still Here's over the last 4 weeks, because I've been very worried about that. I've been very concerned about how I was going to be on vacation and how vacation was going to be for me. I don't know. A lot of my concerns. I don't want to say that they were valid, because obviously a lot of my concerns were a result of the depression and were paranoia and weren't actually things that I should worry about. But I still worried about them a great deal, even during the vacation, and as a result, it wasn't the best time for me. And I'm gonna sound like I'm whining. I shouldn't say that. I'm gonna sound like I'm whining, because if it's gonna sound like I'm whining, then I don't know why you're watching this video, because it's all about not so much whining, but about getting stuff off my chest in regards to being clinically depressed. And so if you were watching this just to be like, wow, he's a whiny guy, then yeah, I guess you came to the right place to do that. But at the same time, no. On vacation, we ended up going to Lake Tahoe for a week and just spent some quiet time there, where it was very cold and very snowy, which, isn't something I'm used to currently living in LA. The weather's very consistent. It's always very sunny, which, is a mixed bag. But it was a very different change in environment, and it was a nice drive. Like we flew into Reno, and then we drove about an hour and a half to get to the hotel we were staying at, just to the south of Lake Tahoe, and it was very peaceful. But I can't say that made things easier. I'd like to be able to say that, but I don't know if you deal with the same thing. But quiet doesn't necessarily mean my mind is quiet. A quiet environment doesn't mean that my thoughts are going to be as peaceful as my surroundings. I spent a lot of the time just thinking about the fact that I don't deserve to be, away from it all. Because this is the first vacation we've taken in a long time, and we've not really had, I think, more than 2 vacations as a couple. Legit vacations. Most of the time we're just on a trip for work, and then we just take a couple of days for ourselves. But this was the first time in a long time that we'd just decided to go somewhere for ourselves. And that should have made it easier for me to relax, but I didn't do a very good job of that. In fact, the first day, I'm pretty sure I broke down and just explained, how distressed I was by everything, and that was disappointing for both of us, especially Mariana, I imagine, because one of the reasons she wanted me to go on vacation with her and to be at Lake Tahoe was so that I wouldn't be distressed, and so I could get away from that, so that we both could. And me bringing my baggage with me, probably was a huge downer. And that's going to probably be a lot of what I say in this video. I won't lie. It's talking about how I can't get away from these feelings, and how I feel like I'm just sort of ruining everybody else's good time, because everybody else would have had a good time. I feel like that would have happened if I hadn't been around. But yeah, we spent the first day just sort of relaxing and having a quiet time in the hotel, and then we went exploring, and we went to like a sushi bar, and it was super crowded, and I felt really overwhelmed. Like it was packed. It was one of those restaurants where there's like a bit of a line outside for a good hour, until you can get in, because it's just that popular around lunchtime. And it was loud, and it's one of those situations where it was all you can eat. And whenever I'm in a situation where I have to choose like out of a long list of food, like if I don't know the difference between every single kind of sushi as is. So when I look at a list of them, I'm like, I don't know what I want, and even if you told me what every single thing was, I probably wouldn't want any of it. And just with the noise everywhere, I was just really overwhelmed. So I just sort of sat and stared at the floor the whole time, and I felt really bad about that. But yeah, the first couple of days were really rough, and I really feel bad about that. They really shouldn't have been. Like, who gets upset from getting to go, to a nice little place in the middle of nowhere and relax? Who gets upset because of that? But it's hard to calm your mind. It's hard to stop thinking these thoughts, because when I'm alone, or at least essentially alone, because obviously Mariana's with me, but that just like amplifies everything. These thoughts seem louder. These thoughts of, you don't deserve to be here. You don't deserve to be having a good time. If you feel like you're having a good time, that's the thing that drives me crazy about depression, is when I feel like I'm enjoying myself, and when I feel like I'm as far away from the state of being depressed as I possibly can be, it feels like a lie. It feels like a trick, because I know that at any moment the bottom could fall out and I could just go straight back down to the bottom again. And so I don't believe it when I'm having a good time, which is probably a self-fulfilling prophecy in a way. It's probably like, oh, well, you don't think that you should be having a good time, therefore you stop having a good time and you feel miserable, which, seems to verify what you were feeling, but it's all inside. It's all interior. It's all chemicals in your brain, but it's still there, and it still affects me the way it does. So yeah, I won't lie. When I was at Lake Tahoe, for the most part, I spent a lot of time just thinking, about how I shouldn't be there and how I should be at home working to make sure everyone is okay, and to make sure that we have a stable future, and to make sure I'm, because I just feel so guilty when I'm not working on things. I feel guilty right now. I've said this so many times. I feel guilty just talking to this camera, because I feel like I should be sat down writing or sat down editing. And that was just even worse when I was on vacation. It was infinitely worse, because I can't stop the vacation and say, let's just go home. I would have liked to have been able to, but that's not fair. That's not fair to any of us. So yeah, we spent about a week at Lake Tahoe, and it was nice there. Don't get me wrong. I appreciated, the setting, and we went on a little mini cruise on the lake. And, that was really cool. But the whole time I was, like, struggling not to cry. And I feel like I'm letting everybody down by telling them that. I feel like saying this is my way of being, like, coming out and being like, yeah, I didn't enjoy that vacation, so why'd I even go? It was a waste of everybody's time. So I'm sorry for making everybody spend money, and for making everybody wait on videos, and for trying to, pretend that I could get by without thinking about this. I didn't expect to get upset over this, because I thought I'd already gotten it all out of my system. Because that's the thing, you think that, getting through a rough patch, it'll be easy to navigate everything else. It's not easy. I'm rambling. After Lake Tahoe, we went to Disney World in Florida. In fact, we went to Florida, and the first thing I did actually was go to the Royal Rumble, the WWE pay-per-view, which I'm currently making a remark for. Struggling with it because my brain's all over the place, but I'm focusing on getting that done right now. But we went to the pay-per-view with some friends of mine. Antfish, you might know from Team 4 Star. He's a voice actor, very talented guy. My friend Julie, who I've known for several years from conventions, and a couple of her friends. We all went to the Royal Rumble because we'd gotten seats, and the seats were amazing. Like, they weren't really close to the ring, but they were, in their own little section. It was strange. It was almost like a VIP area, it felt like. It wasn't in any sense of the word. It was just a bunch of chairs on the edge of like a balcony where anybody could be. But we just had that little area to ourselves, and we didn't have to worry about yelling too loud or getting on anybody's nerves. We just sort of did what we did and had a good time. and that was really good. That felt really good. I don't know what it was. I think it's just because I was just swept up by the wrestling and everything. But I really enjoyed that night. That was a lot of fun. I can't lie. I didn't struggle with that one. That was easy to enjoy. I don't know what it was. I mean, I guess because when I am feeling depressed, watching TV or playing a game sometimes helps. Not always. Sometimes I just sit there feeling guilty about that. But when I was at the pay-per-view, when I was there in the crowd, there was something about the atmosphere and just the crowd mentality that really it picked me up and got me cheering. And I lost my voice momentarily throughout the night. I lost my voice from cheering so hard for several things, AJ Styles primarily. But if you don't watch wrestling, you don't know what I'm talking about. But if you do, yeah, I cheered so much that I couldn't cheer anymore. And I got back to the hotel at the Disney World Resort, I should say, and I could barely speak. It was crazy. So that was a really good night. I can't pretend that I had a bad time that day. But Disney World itself, we went because we have a couple of really good friends, Joe and Emily, and Joe works for Maker Studios, which allows him to have it's Disney owns them, so he has like ways of getting into the park and getting discounts and stuff. So we all suggested that we take a group trip to Disney World as part of our vacation and hang out there and go to all the parks because they hadn't been before. And it was good to see them. I'm always glad to see Joe and Emily. They're really fun people to hang out with. And we seem to be doing okay. Like I was having a good time the first couple of days. And then we went to Epcot, and I don't know what it was. I think it was so crowded, and unfortunately I had a drink or two. Like I don't drink much these days. Like I'll be honest, I've gotten like a weird reputation like among like YouTube fans that I drink from time to time, and I get kind of I'm a weird drunk. I'm like a loud, silly drunk, and so people just sort of tell stories about things I've done when I'm drunk. And who hasn't got a story or two about that, really? But I've gotten like a reputation for getting drunk and doing daft things, which worries me that I have a reputation for being a drunk, which I flat out saying, that's not a thing. I barely drink, these days. But I did have a couple of drinks while I was there, because if you've ever been to Epcot, there's so many different options there that, you feel, and everybody else was doing the drinking thing, that I was just like, okay, I'll have a couple of drinks. So I don't know if that affected me to the point that I had a bit of a bad time, but about halfway through the day, I had to sit down and just cry and get it out of my system, and I had to be like, you guys go on, I'm gonna just stay here and just deal with this and try my best to get through it. And Mariana stayed with me and sat with me and talked to me about that. And I feel so bad because, it was one of those things where, because I've had this experience at Disneyland as well, where I just had a breakdown, and I had a couple of these at Disney World, but I feel like I shouldn't be doing that, like it's the happiest place on earth and all that, and everybody else is there to have fun. I'm there with my friends, and the last thing I want to do is bring them down, but I couldn't help myself. Sometimes, I'd get through it. I would try not to bring it up. I just sort of suffer through whatever, like, panic attack I was having. And I've really got to learn to take my pills everywhere with me. I keep forgetting to do that. But, there were a couple of times where I just couldn't deny it, and I had to just cry, and I had to be like, I'm sorry, guys. This is nothing anybody's doing. It's just me. It's just something I'm dealing with. But I could tell, I put like a downer on the events. So, I don't know, that just makes me feel worse. And I know these videos aren't here just for me to whine. And I am doing a lot of whining right now. And I'm probably going to wrap things up because it looks like it's getting close to 15 minutes. And I don't want to make this too long of just me being like, yeah, I had a bad time on my vacation. And I was worried that I was going to have a bad time, and then I did. So it's like, why did I do it? But at the same time, it was important. It was important to go. Because I feel like a lot of the bad stuff that happened, it's important to deal with that. It's important to tackle that. It's important to face it. and acknowledge it. And it's important to learn from it. And I guess, I don't know, what I've learned is it's still eluding me a little bit. I'll probably talk to my therapist about it this week. But I don't know, the main thing that I got out of it is that, I did get to talk to Mariana and the others after everything, and they all insisted that, I didn't make the vacation bad, and I didn't ruin everything, and I didn't make everything, I didn't bring everybody else down, even though it feels like that. It still feels like that. I feel like I'm lying when I say, yeah, I didn't bring everybody else down. I feel like I did. But, if they're insisting that I didn't, then I don't know, maybe it's okay. But I guess if I learned anything, it's just that there are going to be times when I can't avoid being overwhelmed. Because it's easy for me here, like if I feel overwhelmed, I can just come into this room, or I can find a safe place that's familiar. But if I'm in Florida, I can't, or at a convention or something, I can't avoid this. So I'm going to have to try and be stronger. That's difficult. It really is. But I'm going to have to try. I can't walk away from a fight that I can't lose if I just keep fighting. And that's all I have to do. And I hope you're doing okay. I'm back. I'm home for all the month of February, so I'm enjoying that. I'm enjoying being home. I'm not looking forward to going away in March. I have conventions starting up, so that's not going to be fun. I'm really worried about that, but that's not what we're dealing with right now. We're dealing with being at home and working from home, and I can deal with that. I can handle that. I can do that. There are things I can do, and I should just focus on that. All right. Well, I hope to see you next week, and I hope you're doing okay.